Yeah, good evening everybody to a new episode of Autogefühl. You frequently ask us to also test some cheaper, compact and small cars, and here we go. Especially for you today we have the all-new Toyota Aygo. This is a car which is built in the town of Kolín in the Czech Republic, together with its two French sister cars, the Peugeot 108 and the Citroen C1. It's the second generation of these three cars that started in 2005 with the first Aygo, the first C1 and the Peugeot 107. And this is now the all-new second generation. And the good news is that the designers of these cars had got more freedom now. The amount of carryover parts has drastically been reduced. So you see not many common parts on the exterior design, which makes the three cars very different now, whereas in the first generation they were much closer together. So the main common parts are now underneath, which are not visible. And I think Toyota has done the most dramatic exterior design of the three sister cars. I mean, when I first honestly saw the first pictures of the car in Japanese newspapers and in the Toyota press releases, I thought, bloody hell, this is a car, looks like a comic car out of a Japanese anime cartoon. But actually, when you see the car live on road and in flesh like here, you got into a good mood and it makes you smile. For me, it's the first car probably since the first Toyota, the Renault Twingo, that really makes people happy, and people turn their heads when you drive along them on the road. If you come closer for a little design review on the front end, I think this is the most spectacular aspect of the car. This is this X-shape motif here at the front end. This is also now, meanwhile, been taken over for the Toyota Yaris, the B segment car, from the small A segment to the B segment. So it's a common signature. And this X motif very nicely contrasts here with this piano black surface with the red color. Here we have the daytime running lights, by the way. And this black panel here is prolonged through the main headlights. And this black panel here up to the A-pillar and the rear view mirror. And I think this is a very dramatic feature which you don't see on the two French cars. And also the detailing. Toyota has done a lot of detailing here. If you look to this here, this is also to reduce noise here in this area. This is always a very notorious area, this triangle here around the windscreen, the mirror. These little air profiles here reduce wind noise. Also in the back, we have a similar feature here on the tail lamp. These are very tiny little things which love to detail and love to small improvements. Good. The car is 3.45 meters long, so it's really a very compact car. You can see the front overhang and especially the rear overhang are very short indeed. And this is a four-door variant. We tested before, unfortunately we don't have it on video, a two-door Peugeot 108. This is a four-door. And the rear windows are frameless, so there are no frames and there are no power assisted lifting, so you have to open them in the good old traditional way by hand, manually. So coming to the rear end of the Aygo, we have what all three cars have in common is this tailgate, which is made of glass, so it's no plastic or bodywork, it's just glass. It's tinted black in the lower area here. And again, you can see this X motif here. These taillights are shaped in an X shape. And the wheel arch here is very massive and the whole car looks very broad and wide, like a little sports car. I think they have done a good job with that, because if you look to the tires, they are really small, only 15-inch. Very small tires, but the car from the back looks much heavier and much sportier than it actually is. So, and what about the luggage area? You open it, it's a little bit old-fashioned by pushing this knob here. So there's nothing underneath here. You have to push that knob, open it. It is a slightly grown compared to the outgoing version, and easily you can fit in here 2 of these boxes of mineral water and orange juice. If you put it like this, you could even probably store 3 of these or 3 or 4 of these. So it's good for your daily shopping. And if you need some more space, you can fold the rear seats in a 50-50 partition like this. And another one. So you can't expect more from such an A-segment car, but for your daily shopping and for the little shoppings, it's very convenient. And also here we see this protection padding here. We also don't have that in the French cars. Another example of how Toyota really went through all the details of the car with a lot of love to detail. So underneath the hood of the Toyota Aygo we have a very good old friend, so to say, for this family. It's still the 1-liter 3-cylinder petrol engine pumping out 69 horsepower. And it's a pretty noisy engine. I mean, all of these 3 cylinders are not very silent, but Toyota again here has tried to improve the theme, and I have to say the French hasn't done that. But let's see what Toyota has done to reduce noise intruding into the interior of the car. First of all, notice this noise reducing cover here, which is just fixed underneath the hood, and in the French cars you don't have that. Second feature here is this construction, which for me looks a little bit like a cage or so. Again, this one is very massive, and this reduces vibration from the hood on bad roads. So this is a very efficient way to improve the 3-cylinder engine and its NVH behavior. On the other hand, what I find fascinating is how they try to reduce the weight of the car. If you look to these hinges here and look at these holes, it's a bit like in a racing car, in racing cars of times gone by, where they also try to reduce the weight take every little gram out of the car by drilling here these hinges. So the engine, of course, is not a sports car engine. The maximum speed is 160 kilometers per hour, and I can tell you it takes a very long time to reach this 160 k's. But this is not a car for the motorway. We have hardly driven it on motorways when we had it for 2 weeks for testing. We mainly used it in the city because that is their habitat, and you can use the advantages of these cars to the maximum in the city, especially in parking situation, in tight parking situation. They are the very best. So we are now in the interior of the Toyota Aygo. First of all, the head clearance in this car is much better as in cars equipped with the sunroof. We had the Peugeot 108 that I was talking to you earlier that had one of these sliding canvas roofs, which are very nice in the summer and springtime and which we can only recommend. But this car is only equipped with a solid roof, and here you have extra head clearance. So if you are a tall driver and you really need head clearance, you should better not go for the sunroof. Well, apart from that, also here, I repeat myself, the impression is perceived quality, fit and finish, quality of surfaces. It's better than in the Peugeot, in our view. Also here the center stack looks a bit more high quality. There are slight differences between the two cars we had. First, this one has just a normal air condition. It's not a climate control. So normally you have here in the more expensive cars, you have here in this triangle a digital display to where you can regulate the temperature for the air condition control. Here it's all a little bit more down to earth and not very nice. Some of these switches are a bit tricky to learn. And also here in the Peugeot we had a starter button. So you had a keyless entry system with a starter button here. The Toyota is only equipped with this type of key, with this fob. You have the central locking in this way, and in the Peugeot we had a keyless entry system. Of course you can get all these of extra for the Toyota as well. The combi instrument is very small and compact. You might remember in the old car, in the first generation, they had the ref counter here with an extra instrument, like in the BMW Mini. In the new car they have a little ref counter here on the left. I can tell you, you hardly ever need it because this engine doesn't like high resolutions. We normally shift the next gear between 3,000 and 4,000 RPM, because if you go higher the engine doesn't really like high revs and it's getting very noisy then. So forget about it. More important is this center instrument, where we also can see the fuel consumption at the moment. After 2 weeks of testing it's 5.8 liters per 100 kilometers. So, but the younger drivers, which Toyota wants to target with this car, they of course want their multimedia system. And here we go. This is the so-called mirror link. You can link your smartphone with this interface, and you have of course Bluetooth technology. And we have also here satellite navigation system. So all what you need today in even such a small car. And this display is also being used for the reverse camera. Again, here you wouldn't believe a couple of years ago that a rear view camera would be available in an A-segment car, which starts at prices below 10,000 euros. So the seats look very nice, and they actually are very nice. Even the shoulder support here, I mean, it's very soft, as you can see. This is not a Recaro sport seat, but it does its job in the city driving. If you go on more sporty driving style on country roads, of course they have their limits also here. It's pretty soft, but the material looks very robust. We think they will last quite a long time. And I think they fit very nicely to the Toyota image with these gray, bright gray and dark gray surfaces. And for cost reasons there are no headrests here that you can vary in the height, adjustable headrests. There are also no grips here on the ceiling, even on the passenger side. They are missing. And also if you would come around here, the anchor point of the safety of the seat belt here is also not attachable. It's fixed in one position. These are the things you have to live with such a car. They made life not more difficult. It's just, you know, to keep the costs down, because in this segment every 100 euro can be a decision to go for a car or go to the other manufacturer around the corner. Driving position in the Aygo is fairly okay. You have a height adjustment mechanism here on the left side of the seat. The steering wheel has a good grip. It's not leather, but it's some kind of artificial leather. And the tuning of the steering is responsive enough. You even got a little bit of this go-kart feeling that we always like, for instance in the Mini. Again here, this is not a sports car. It's made for a wide variety of customers, for housewives, for young girls who have just got their driving licenses. So it wouldn't be a good idea to make it too responsive and too sporty, but it gives a certain amount of enjoyment. You also have this shift indicator, which signals you to change into the next higher gear. And the gearbox, 5-speed. We have no complaints here. Short shifts, very exact. Again here we feel it's a bit better than in the French cars. It might be not true, but we think again here maybe Toyota, with all this experience, has again tried to make it a little bit better. and the noise coming from the engine is very dampened by the measures that we explained to you. Wind noise is also not disturbing, and we are now driving with 120 kilometers per hour, and it's still pretty quiet in the interior. The fifth gear is very long, so it takes a very long time to reach the maximum speed. And the acceleration from 0 to 100, according to the factory, is 14.2 seconds from 0 to 100 kilometers. So a few words to finish with the price strategy of Toyota. It's very important to know that the base car is already equipped with power-assisted steering and with headrests for the rear passengers. The two French cars, in their basic versions, are offered without power-assisted steering and without headrests for the rear passengers. And we don't think that's a good idea. Maybe with the power steering you can live in, if you drive in the city, we don't know, we haven't tested it. But you must have headrests for your rear passengers. I mean, in case of an accident, it could be a matter of surviving or not surviving, or a matter of having serious head injuries or not. So there should be no compromise in these safety features, and we really don't understand why Peugeot and Citroen go that way. So Toyota starts with the Aygo X with 9,950 euros. That's the base version. And then it goes up to 10,950 with the business pack, and then the X-Play and X-Touch versions, which are basically that car, and these cost around 11,525 up to 12,000 euros. And then the top version, the so-called X-Wave, finishes at 13,900. And the extra price for the two additional doors are 350 euros. Options list is very short. You can only go for a metallic color. You can have an automated gearbox, which is 600 euro extra. So if you don't want to shift gears manually, you can have these automated manual gearbox for 600 euros extra. In general, we are very enthusiastic about this Aygo. We really think it's a great design. It makes people laugh, it makes people smile, it fits to modern city environments. And Toyota has proven, I mean, they have done the Toyota Aygo, which is also one of my favorite little cars. And the first Aygo was not as good as that one. You can see they have put a lot of effort in making this car more mature, more high quality, and they have really an advantage on the Peugeot and the Citroen. So if you are not really going for a French car, I mean, maybe you are a Peugeot supporter for all your life, or your husband, if you are a lady, always has driven Peugeots, that's fine. He of course wants to go for the French car. But if you don't have these your automotive past, we would always recommend you to go for the Toyota. It's the more mature, the more high quality car of those three. Maybe it's a little bit more expensive than a Peugeot or a Citroen, but in the end it's a better buy. So we hope you have enjoyed our experience with such a small car, and please let us know your opinions if we should go on this route and introduce you in future, maybe more often, cars like the Toyota Aygo. So thanks for listening for today, and let's keep in touch. Bye bye.